I can't see hands again, so if there are new hands, please take them. And then I'll take one question from the chat.
Yeah, there's just a question I've seen in the chat that I think pertains quite nicely to the strategic plan. And I know that we are almost running out of time. How can SOAS issue statements about Black Lives Matter while underfunding the Africa department, removing the BA in African Studies, and allowing lecturers to say the N-word in class? What else? Can you see any? There's questions that I've obviously just mean, but
there are hands up. Sorry, I can see the hands now.
Yeah,
so there's a question from Mariano, and then from Phoenix, and then Samantar. I'm conscious we only have 3 minutes left, so should we take the question from the chat first, and then Mariano can ask your question?
You mean you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So the issue around that is, firstly, on the nigger, somebody making that allegation, then just bring it to me. I don't know the case. This is the first I've heard of it.
Adam, not acceptable to be saying that in a meeting. Like that's not like.
I'm sorry, but you cannot say the N-word. That in itself is traumatic.
Well, somebody said the N-word, and I was saying that if there is that somebody said that word and it is a problem, then bring it to me. This is the first I've heard of it. If there is somebody who I think you're suggesting said this in a way and used the word against somebody else, then obviously it violates our policy and it needs to be taken up as an issue. And I'm happy to address this. This is the first time I've heard.
Said the word. You've just said the word when we've obviously it was not written in the chat. I've said it was used. It's been used by lecturers. It's historically been ignored when students have raised it, and now you have just used it in a public meeting with students. And many students are saying, and I find it myself unacceptable to have used that word in the meeting. Absolutely.
Well, you do. I don't actually. I come from a part of the world where we actually do use the word, and we said that it's unacceptable.
I'm sorry, but you're not a black man. You cannot use that word. That is not your lived experience. You do not face the trauma and the oppression of black bodies, what we go through 24/7 for the last 500 years. You do not embody our history. So therefore, you cannot use the word. Many writers, even our own alumni, such as Walter Rodney, have written as to why people, non-black POCs and white bodies should not use the N-word. Because when it comes from that perspective, then it means a whole different story from when it comes from our own perspective, which is the autonomy and the agency and the reclamation of our own history.
So can I, that's a lovely position. I'm sorry I offended you. I come from a part of the world where when somebody uses it, I'm using it, the context matters. And what I was trying to simply say is if you find it offensive, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I come from South Africa where I've said this and it's not created a problem. But I'm sorry I've offended you by using the word. I'll use the N-word then. If somebody's used the N-word in the definition or against somebody else, then this is the first I've heard of it. It would be a violation of what we stand for, and it would be a disciplinary offense. So if there is such a case, then please bring it to my attention, and I will then take it.
Adam, the question wasn't about the specific incident only. It was about the wider structural issue.
I'm coming to the rest. Okay. On the issue of issuing a statement on Black Lives Matter and the fact that we have defunded parts of the Africa program. To be honest, part of that was done prior to what I came. I just have had a series of conversations with colleagues around building parts of that program. But I do want to be clear. Departments get sustainability based on student numbers. There is an acceptance of some cross-subsidization, but those happen within the framework of the parameters that are established. So if you're asking me, will we refund those programs? The question is it's part of the strategic conversations we're having. It's how to make those programs sustainable. It's how to make sure that we are able for those programs to meet the financial requirements that they are. And if you don't think that that's important, then I'm sorry, because the strategic plan does take it as serious. So yes, we are going to grow a program around African studies. We're going to do this in powerful ways, but there is an interesting debate that's opened up around institutes, and the Africa Institute and other institutes, and how they need to be sustainable in their own rights and not be cross-subsidized from internal resources. That's what we are going to be looking at, and that's what we will look at. So that's the only answer I have. I've said to you before, we'll try and invest, but it's going to be based on ensuring financial sustainability. I will not imperil financial sustainability on those grounds.
And if that is the case, then please remove the idea of being able to study Africa and Black institution, because at this point there is no programs for it. There is not that many modules for it. So, but the SOAS continues to market itself as an institute as the #1 institute on African studies.
So can I come back to you? I do have plans around driving it. And actually, Samantha, you don't speak for Africa. I come from the continent. I was born there. I've worked all my life there. And I will put forward an agenda that is an African program in a cosmopolitan sense. And there will be programs. The entire internationalization agenda will be driven by that program. And we will advance that. And that is part of our strategic agenda. I'm sorry it doesn't meet your needs, but I can tell you in my conversations with people on the continent, it meets many of their needs. And we will continue to engage institutions on the continent to enable that to happen.
The fact that it doesn't meet my needs, but it meets their needs, meets no needs. That doesn't make sense.
Sorry, I don't personalize those issues. My issue is to look at the collective agenda.
Adam, this is a student that's on a BA African Studies program, and I don't think it's appropriate to make assumptions about where students come from. So I think...
with due respect, sorry, you as a chair, you've also got to be fair. This individual has intervened and made all kinds of assumptions about me. And I suggest if you want respect, you engage with respect. That's what I'm saying. I'm happy to move on to something else.
Okay, I'm sorry, I know we're 5 minutes over time. So first of all, I want to know how much time do you have, because I want to take more questions if you do have time, but I don't want to take more questions than you can answer.
So I'm happy to go for another 5 or 6 minutes. May I suggest that we take whatever questions there are? And for those questions that are not addressed, I'm happy for people to engage me directly. So if you want to send me an email, if you want to have these conversations that address particular concerns, I'm happy to take that separately.
Okay. There were a couple of hands up, and I'm assuming that the list of hands up means who put up their hand first. So I'm going to go with Mariano, and then we'll end. And then you can, as students, you can email us, and we are in a lot of spaces with senior managers where we can put forward your concerns, or as Adam has said, you can directly email him. And I'm really sorry if people have been harmed in this meeting, but we need to end. So Mariano, and then Adam, and then we'll end the meeting.
Yes, thank you. I would like to step back to the strategic plan that to me, sounds very exciting and really the way forward. However, it requires investments in management systems, in academic capabilities, non-academic capabilities. So my question is, from a financial point of view, how feasible is all this? Because if you want to get good people, you need to spend money. And have you prepared already a budget? Have you already thought about way to fund this new budget, this new plan? So that's my question.
Yeah. Sorry, do you want me to answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Mariano, so I think it's a good question. Look, in some senses, I think we have done a whole series of modeling exercises. We think that we can achieve, with the number of student numbers that we go up by, we can achieve the kinds of surpluses that allow us to invest in the infrastructure, in, if you like, the kinds of strategic initiatives we have, in the new people that we need, both in academic terms, but in professional terms. And there's a whole set of slides in the strategic plan that speak to this and how we will make those numbers and what kinds of investments. So if you pick that up, and if you send me a note, I'll send you the plan. And if you have thoughts in that regard, I would be happy to take it. I think that they are perfectly possible to do. So feel free to send me a note, and we can do this. I will say perhaps one other thing. We'll end this financial year by turning around the deficit. We'll turn around the deficit. The reason, and it's astonishing that we can do that so quickly, but I'll tell you that we've done it by cutting expenditure. And that's not a sustainable way to do it. What you want to do it is by growing income, because by growing income, you can then make this a less of a zero-sum game. And that's what this debate is about. And that's what the plan is about. That's my answer. Sorry, Yasmin.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. Sorry that we went 8 minutes over time. Please remember that if you need any kind of support, you can always come to any of the elected officers in the student union, your student reps, but our emails are on the website. Please also remember that SU elections are open. I hope this meeting has given you an idea of what kind of environment SOAS will find itself in the next couple of years. Please, please, please vote. It's really important that you read everyone's manifestos and cast your vote. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Sorry, Yasmin, can I just give my address? AH130 AH130@soas.ac.uk. So if you can, if any of you have thoughts, suggestions, any other further questions, some cases, please write to me AH130@soas.ac.uk. I'll be happy to take those and respond accordingly. Thank you very much.